because I'm going to flip back and forth between Excel. So you should recognize this website. Let's go to modules. And, I should say, please don't try to finish your project while I'm explaining how to do the project, because that's not going to make any sense. You can always just re-watch this video. It's being recorded, and you can always just skim the video. Okay, here's the project. So the project is, there's you who graduates with the degree that you want, and you get the job that you want for whatever degree. So if you're a nursing student, um, please pick whatever kind of nurse you would like to be, whatever nurse you're going to be. You're going to find out what whatever that job income is, and I'll show you how to find that on a specific website. You're going to compare that to the median income of a high school graduate, and everyone's going to use this same high school graduate, and their income is $22,500. So everyone's going to use this income. So we are comparing two different incomes. You, when you get the job that you want for the degree you're going to finish with, if you're going to transfer to a four-year school, if you're going to go on, or if you're doing a two-year degree, whatever the job is, whatever the degree you're currently going for, whatever that job is, that's what you're going to pick, and we're going to compare it to this high school graduate. Okay. Now, what are we going to do? We're going to compare a mortgage, and we're going to compare a savings account, future value, 401k. Okay, we're going to set up one for both people. You as the person that gets the job you want, and then the high school student. If you want to think about it, it's not you, it's just someone else. Okay, then you're the accountant, and you're going to set up two accounts, one for the high school student and then one for whatever job you pick. Okay, if you want to take yourself out of it, that's fine with me. So that's the first thing we're doing. We need to create a spreadsheet that does this, and the first step of the project is to go to this website right here and find that median income for whatever job you want. Okay, the high school student, the income is given right here. So that's the income we're going to use for the high school student. But we're going to find the income on this website for whatever career you're looking to get. So I'm going to open that website up now. And I'm going to do it for myself. So I'm going to go to education because I want to be an educator. I'm not going to click math because I'm not going to be a mathematician and be an educator. So I'm going to pick educator. But you can find whatever category it would apply to you. You can go there. Okay. So I'm going to go to education. And what did I do before? So I got to pick between these. You can also search. You can search here or you can search here. That's the other way. I need to go to post-secondary school teacher. And the median income for that is $80,000. So that would be like IU professor. Okay, that would be like an IU professor. That's roughly what my professors at IU, when I was at IU, that's roughly what they make. So that's the income. That's my dream job. That's what I will take. So I'm going to take this a median income right here and do that. And you can go up here and you can say, well, I want to be a nurse, whatever. You can search there. So the first step is finding that value, that median income on the website. So that's the first step. But I'm going to take this number here and I'm going to copy it. Now, please, 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 in your project, you have to tell me what this job is. Okay, you have to tell me what you picked. I won't just know by the number. If you pick one that makes $250,000 a year, I'll know it's a pretty good paying job, but I won't know what job it is. So you got to tell me what it is. Okay, so I'm going to copy that value, and I'm going to go. I pre-made this spreadsheet here, just so I could fill in some values. So I went ahead and made this before class. just so I can kind of compare. And this is what I would think is like the bare minimum for the project. So I thought maybe I would run through this. So junior college instructor, we're gonna say, okay, it's 80,000 there. Okay. Oops. Yes. Okay. All right. Well, what is their monthly income? Well, I would hit equal sign. And why is it not working? It's not working because I'm doing this in front of the class, so it knows that. It wants to mess me up. Equals B2 divided by 12. Okay, so there's my monthly income. Now, I guess I should ask, can you see the Excel spreadsheet okay? Is that showing up okay?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yep, we can see it as
Okay.
you're editing.
Cool. So I have the junior college instructor. I have the monthly salary so far. I have the high school graduate income. I can also do the monthly income right there. I want that to be, that would be H2 divided by 12. Okay, now mortgage payment. Well, I'm going to flip back. Hopefully, I won't make you too upset by all this flipping. The first step is you plan to spend 28% of your gross monthly income on the mortgage. So we are going to apply 28% of our monthly income towards the mortgage payment. Now remember, if we know the payment, we're looking for the mortgage, what function do we have to use? If we know how much the payment is, what function do we use? If we're looking for the mortgage, knowing the payment, what function do we use? Does anyone remember? Is it PV or PMT?
PMT?
So PMT is when we're looking for the payment and we know the mortgage. So if we know the payment and want the mortgage, we have to use the PV function. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back. And I know I'm going to mute you real quick. So the mortgage payment is what? It's 28%. So I put 28% here times this thing is, I wonder if it's because I might be overloading my computer right now. I have too much going on. B3. Okay, so that's 28% of this, 28% of the monthly income is my monthly payment. Okay, what would the mortgage be? That's going to be the PV function that we just talked about. The APR is given in the prompt. So it's 1.7 divided by 12. 12 times, it's a 30-year loan minus, and then this is going to be B4. Okay, so that would be a pretty expensive house. It'd be the max that they could afford with these restrictions. So it's a 30-year loan, 28% of their monthly income, and the APR is 1.7. Okay, so we can do this also for the high school student. Equals, and that would be H3 times E4. Okay, and now we can find what their mortgage is. PV function. The APR is E2 divided by 12. 12 times the 30, E3, comma, minus H4. Okay, so That is the mortgage for both of them. Okay. Any questions? Do you want me to do anything over again? Are there any questions about what I just did?
So to find the mortgage payment, you took the salary times the mortgage APR.
For the mortgage payment, it's 28% of their monthly salary.
Okay.
So let me show you that one more time. It's 28% of the monthly gross income on the mortgage. Okay. So to find the monthly payment, we don't need the APR at all.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
So I found the annual salary of the job that I want on the website. The monthly salary is just divided by 12. The mortgage payment is 28% of that monthly. And then the mortgage, that's when I had to use the APR. I used the PV function with the APR divided by 12, 30-year loan. And then those are my mortgage payments. So I was able to find that mortgage. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I did that for both the high school graduate and the career that I want. Okay. So that's the first part that you have to do. All right, the next thing we have to do is we have to set up a retirement plan. Okay. So the retirement plan. Assume that you've selected a job that has a retirement plan that allows you to save for 32 years. So this retirement plan is for 32 years. 4% of our monthly income is going to go into the retirement, and the APR is 8.99. Okay. So we can use the FV function to find how much would be in this account after that 32 years. We also have to do this for the high school student. Okay. So I'm going to do that next. I've already entered that information in my Excel spreadsheet. I have the APR, I have the number of years, and I have the percentage of the monthly income that I'm going to set aside for both accounts, high school grad and the instructor. So yeah, you can choose to do this however you like, and I hope you won't copy me too much, but I'm just trying to kind of speed things up by showing you how I might do this. So the retirement payment is going to be my monthly times that 4%. So it looks like I'm putting around, in my dream job, $268.53 every month. So what would be my retirement account? Well, I can use the FV function to do that. We have an 899 APR. Divide that by 12 because I'm paying monthly. 12 times the 32 years. I covered my 32 years, so I'm just going to do that. And then my payments are B10. Okay. So that's what I think the retirement account would be. So far, so good. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. What about the high school student? Well, the high school student's salary is still the same. Monthly is just that divided by 12. The retirement payments is also 4%. multiply it times that 4. And the retirement account is going to be the FV function, the APR divided by 12, 12 times the 32 minus, and then that's going to be H10. That's right. Okay. So that's what I think the high school grad's retirement is going to be. Any questions about that?
No.
Okay. Does it seem easy? Is it hard?
It doesn't seem too bad.
Okay, good. Okay, so that's what I think the retirement would be. What's the next part? Salary increase. Consider working. I think there's some feedback. I'm gonna mute you. Sorry. Unmute yourself if you have a question. So consider working for a company that gives you 2 options for a yearly increase in your salary. You can take a wage increase of 1.5% of your salary. You can take a wage increase of a lump sum of 825. Which scenario should you take for your job, option A or option B? Explain why you chose this option. Should the high school graduate take option A or B? Justify your answer. Okay, so we're gonna get a raise. We're either gonna get $825 or 1.5% of our salary. So let's do the raises. Okay, so for the college instructor, annual salary of my dream job. And then I'm going to do the plus $825. So I'll take this plus 825. Now, what about the 1.5% increase? Now, how should I calculate this? How do I calculate it? How do I do a 1.5% increase? What number should I multiply it by?
For just the increase or for the new amount? Because if it's the new amount, it would be 1.015.
Okay.
That would be it with the 1.5% increase added in. But is that what it's asking for?
It's asking which option we should take.
So you want it with a 1.015.
Yes. So this would be the annual salary after the 1.5% increase. This would be the annual salary with the $825 increase. Okay. And then the way I have it, I'm just going to show you the difference there. So if I take the 1.5 increase, that would be $383 more than if I just took the lump sum. We could also call that the absolute value.
How did you get
change.
that? Okay, absolute value.
How did I get what?
Yeah, the third point, like the one increase, the one he got 1.5%. How did you get that?
Yeah.
What did you multiply with? Yeah.
So here's the annual salary.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to see what would the salary be after the 1.5 increase. So I take this, I multiply it by 1.015. That would be 100% plus 1.5%.
Okay.
And then if I do the absolute change. So for this position, they should take the 1.5% increase, not the lump sum.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, what about the high school student? So their annual salary is still the same. If I add the 825, it would make this. And if I did the 1.5% increase, equals times 1.015. There we go. I could find the absolute change. So they would make more money taking the lump sum. Okay. So any questions about that?
No.
Let's look back at the project. So we looked at the salary increase. That's what we just did there. You have a paper copy of the instructions. You also have a student guide, financial student guide there. But I think most of what you need is right here. I think if you look over this again, it will, I hope after that demonstration, it will seem extremely straightforward. Now you're going to have to answer some questions about this. Okay, so let's look at the questions. So open the quiz. Gives me the instructions again. First question is upload that spreadsheet file that you did. Okay. Question 2, explain what job you chose and why. Use the median salary from the website. This website, you have to get the median income of whatever the position is from this website. Compare the salary from the high school. How does the salary compare to the high school? Use both absolute change and relative change comparisons. Okay. So we need to do we need to compare it with absolute change and relative change with that of the dream job or the job that you're going for and the high school student. Okay. So hopefully you remember absolute change is just subtracting the two. Relative change is dividing that by the reference value and then multiplying by 100, which gives you a percentage. Okay. So you have to do it, compare it both ways. And you need to write a few sentences about that comparison. My guess is whatever job you pick is going to make more money than that of that high school student, would be my guess.
I have a question.
Okay.
I always get confused when it's apples to oranges and not dates to dates. Which one are we supposed to use for the old value and which one are we supposed to use for the new value?
Okay.
How do we determine that by reading the question?
Compare your salary to that of the high school graduate. So this sentence right here gives you that clue. Your salary to that of the high school student. So which salary would you say is the reference value? Which one would be the reference?
Your salary, I think our salary, the one we picked.
No,
No.
that would be the one that changes for everybody. The reference value is going to be that of the high school student.
Okay.
Because that's the same for everybody.
So is that going to be the old one then?
Yes.
Is the reference value?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So you want to do absolute change, relative change. Please write this at college level sentence structure. All right, question 3. Assume that you're planning on spending a certain amount of income towards the mortgage. The terms of the mortgage are 1.7% APR for 30 years. You plan on spending 28% of the monthly gross income towards your mortgage. Make sure to show at least one sample formula that you used in Excel to get the house prices. What is the highest price you can afford based on the information above? What is the highest price house for the high school student can afford? And use an absolute and relative change statements to compare the house prices of the high school student and yours and your house. Okay. Again, you're going to use the high school student as the reference value because that's the same for everybody. Yours is the variable. Your whatever job you pick, whatever profession you choose, that's the thing that changes. So that would be the variable value. Okay. So we did that in Excel. Now you just have to write some 2 or 3 sentences about that. But after you do the Excel spreadsheet, that should be fairly self-explanatory, I think. Any questions about question 3? So you can write it in any program you want. You can just copy and paste whatever your response. You can just type it right here, or you can write it in Word and then copy and paste it in the text box. Okay. All right. Question 4, research housing costs for a city you'd like to live in. Use the cities within the United States. Assume that the APR in years of the mortgage is still the same as in question 2, 1.7 APR and 30 years. Use in Excel, find the amount needed for the monthly mortgage. Use a relative and absolute change sentence to compare the monthly price to that of the house price in question 2, and calculate the percentage of the monthly gross income this payment would be for your salary. So now you're going to pick a city that you would like to live in. If it's the city you live in, then you can pick whatever city you want. It has to be in the United States. Then you're going to find a housing price. You could pick a particular house. You could pick a particular city and just find the average cost of the house. And then you're going to find what would the payments be for this house. And then you're going to compare that to the house you did before in question 2.
So in that one, we're going to use the house in question 2 as our old value.
Yes, that's correct. House in question 2 would be the reference value. Any other questions about question 4? That was a good one. Question 5. Assume that you've selected a job that has a retirement plan that allows you to save for 32 years. If 4% of your monthly income is put into a retirement account, how much should you expect if the annual return is 8.99? Okay, well, we already did that. How much should a high school graduate expect to get if they save with the same percentage? Use absolute and relative change statements to compare the retirement accounts of the high school graduate and your retirement. Make sure to use at least one sample formula used to get the retirement price. So here you're just reporting what you learned from your Excel spreadsheet that we did earlier. And you're going to use the high school student as the reference value for the absolute change and relative change. Okay. Question 6, consider working for a company that gives you 2 options for your yearly increase in salary. You can take a wage increase of 1.5%, or you can take a lump sum of $825. Which scenario should you take for your job, option A or B? Explain why you would choose this. Make sure to address an absolute and relative change statements as needed. So absolute and relative change is going to be in comparison to that of the percentage and lump sum. You could honestly, you could do the reference value for either way in that. That would be less restrictive. There would be no right or wrong way as long as you're self-consistent. So you could use either as the reference value for that. That I will take either way for that one. Should the high school student take option A or B? And then justify your answer for the high school graduate. Okay. Well, when I just did it, I found that the high school student should probably take the lump sum. And if I got my dream job, I would probably take the 1.5% increase and not the lump sum because the percentage is actually more. Okay. And then that would be the end of the project. Any questions?
No.
Okay. Okay, well, hopefully it seems approachable at this point. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second because I want to pull up a couple things and I can't remember which one is the right file. I want to show you some examples of what some students have turned in the past, because I think the more examples you see, the better. Sorry, one moment. Okay, there's one example. I think I have another one too. Yeah, this one too. Okay. So I thought maybe I would show. This is an example of something a student turned in this year when I taught this class last spring. This is the way they did it, which I thought was really impressive. So they laid it out in this way. So I want to kind of give you, examples of how other people did. What I did was kind of like the minimum, but you don't have that much time, so it's understandable if you can only do the minimum. But this is something that they turned in. They wanted to be a drafter, so they have their yearly income, the monthly mortgage. Now it was 28%, of course. Highest mortgage here. They picked a house they found in Bloomington that they wanted. Then they did the monthly payment, and then the percentage of the gross monthly there, which was only 20%. So there's actually less than before. And then the differences of the house, that's the absolute change there. They did the high school there. They did their retirement account. So 4%, 32 years, did that also of the high school, and then the salary increase as well. So this was a project that someone turned in. I guess I could give his first name. It was Anthony. Anthony turned this in the spring, and I thought it was really good. Of course, he wanted to be a drafter, so of course he was, kind of good with these types of programs. But I thought that was really cool, so I wanted to show you that. Now, what was the other one? I thought I pulled it up. Okay. This student broke it up into different sheets. That's how they chose to do it. So they have the mortgage and then the high school mortgage. So they did mortgage for one sheet, housing cost. So this was the house they picked a house in Ellettsville. This would buy you a pretty good house in Ellettsville, I would think. I live in Ellettsville, so you know that's top dollar for Ellettsville housing process. They did the 2 retirements on the sheet, and then they chose to do the salary increase. They didn't really need to do that, but they chose to do it that way, and so that was how they did it. They separated it within sheets. You can do that as well if you choose to, but those were 2 very different approaches that I thought were pretty good, and I thought I would show there. So it's very orderly. I can follow both of them very easily. Everything is clearly labeled, and yeah. So I thought those were 2 good examples of finished projects of this project. So thought maybe I would share those. I can't upload those and actually share them